What's up, guys? Today we're going to be escaping the mount. I know that you're stuck in the mount. I know that Jeff, you know what I'm saying? Jeff is like pinning you in the mount. He's really strong, you know, getting your wrist pinned, getting submitted, whether it's arm barred or triangle choked or whatever, or you're just stuck here because Professor's way better at mount than you are at escapes. So today we're going to go over some cheeky, easy escapes, low risk, low in your joints, and some defense systems, okay, to make sure you're not going to get caught. So obviously, first thing in mount, elbows tight, right? If I'm reaching, right, she has a basic arm bar. She can start pinning my wrists to the mat. If she starts pinning my wrists to the mat, she can start going for shoulder locks, kimuras, right, throwing up triangles. I'm in danger, right? So I want to keep my elbows nice and tight. Even here, the battle is actually about keeping my elbow to my body because she's going to start to try to swim underhooks. If she can begin to swim underhooks, she's now isolating my arms. I'm in danger again. So elbows down. So let's go over that first. If a partner gets an arm isolated, how do I get it back? Personally, I like to turn towards the arm that I'm trying to get back because I feel that it's stronger to pull it in. If they have it really high, really tight, a simple off balance will probably do the trick. A simple bridge and pull, right? Turn to the side. Let's assume that she's like 200 pounds, heavier than she is, right? And if I bump her, she doesn't fall off. If she stays on the same spot and I bump, I should be able to find space to bring my elbow in. And I should be able to prevent it, right? Like if she is swimming, I should stop it early, right? Always trying to stop it early. Another cheeky thing you can do, this is really fun. If they do end up getting a underhook and you can tell that they're very adamant about keeping it, you can do this super fun sweep. I'm gonna wrap around her arm and I'm gonna trap her foot in the back, right? The reason I trap her foot is because if I just focus on this post on the arm, she can actually use her foot as I bridge to post and she'll stay. I might be able to recover my guard, but this is a really easy sweep to guard if I take this back foot here and I trap her foot. Now as I bridge, I can roll and she has no posts. Very easy to come to the top, okay? Very simple, easy, cheeky escape from the underhooks. Now the other problem we all find, right? She starts climbing up to high mount. It's like, now this sucks, right? So prevent high mount if you can. If I bridge, it doesn't work. I can't shrimp. My elbows are isolated. This is the worst possible situation. You're gonna die. But I have a very simple solution, right? My Professor James showed me this. It's just a shoulder walk. So if you just shoulder walk up, super simple, you're back, right? So elbows down. Let's go back a little bit. I think we're getting close. Yep. Elbows down, shoulder walk, and then we're back. We're back to this simple mount position. Okay, so now let's go over some escapes. Let's say your partner is super upright. This is not uncommon. They're super upright. They're attacking your wrists. They're trying to pin your wrists down, right, from this top position. They're using their weight on you. And then every time you bump them, they go back and they sit back on their just put your weight back on your hips. Like keep your knees down and keep your, without, like you feel, let's go over the bridging first. So if I can get my partner's hands on the mat, excellent. Yes, if I can get, okay, now you're doing the other defense. Okay, no, that's okay. Let's say I can't get her hands on the mat, right? Let's say I can get my partner's hands on the mat. If they're riding the hips really well, we'll go over the different escapes. But for now, let's assume that, and one other tip, let's actually go over this. If your partner is sitting on your hips really well, if you block their hip as you bridge, you can usually get one hand on the mat. Yes, so let's assume you have both hands on the mat. Let's assume you're not as good as you are, right? Both hands on the mat. Now, I'm gonna try to dig an elbow under a knee. If I can get an elbow under a knee, let's turn this way. I can start to create some space. If I can dig an elbow under a knee, I can get my knee in. Now it's really simple. This should be a day one escape. I'm gonna shrimp, get my half guard back, swim to my guard, right? Really easy. So one more time. We've worked to get our elbows tight. We prevent the high mount, we prevent them from isolating. I get my elbow under a knee, and now I just shrimp and I get my knee inside. Right? If they're really heavy on their hips, like she was, like sitting up straight, this might be hard because they have so much weight. Their leg becomes lighter when I can put their hands on the mat, right? So I bridge, hands on the mat, now it becomes lighter. Okay? Another thing you can do, if you begin to get their hands on the mat, this one, a little more advanced, this works on some of the best mounters I've ever seen, is this kip escape. Now this is really kind of a weird motion. You don't do it in jiu-jitsu. If you did swim team, it's kind of like a dolphin kick. But I'm gonna bridge. I like to bridge to two sides. You can do it with just one bridge, but I like to bridge to the opposite side. I have a frame. I should go over my frame. I'm framing across the hip with my forearm, and I like a support hand. I've seen people do it 2 hands on each hip. I've seen 1 cross arm. I've seen just 1 hand, right? So I like to do 1 forearm across the hip and then a support hand. And that means I'm going to take her to the side that my support hand's on. So I like to bridge her the opposite direction, first off balance, and then I bridge back. Try to stay heavy, tight with your hips. Maybe even lock your feet if you can. Yes, I bridge her one side, and I bridge her the other side. Now look, when I come back down, my hips are elevated. Notice I keep her hips in the air, right, as far as I can from me. I've created tension, so try to stay tight with your hips one more time. So I bridge one side, I bridge the other side. Now I've created this tension. Now, as I drop my hips, look, I keep her up a little bit, right? So the idea is I've used my hips to bring her up. Now you let gravity bring mine down and keep hers up the best you can. Once I've done that, here's where the kip part comes in, right? So I bridge one way, I bridge the other way. Now I'm gonna try to wiggle my knees, and I'm gonna get my knees inside. Now, I'm gonna demonstrate this without a partner because it's really just a weird motion. I've seen people try to kind of bounce their back off the mat. That's not quite it. I've also seen people kicking. What it really is it's 2 legs, and I'm really just pushing my feet up and down. And as I do that, I'm pushing her hips up, up, up until a knee can come through. So if you come back up one more time, and really just try to stay tight with your hips so I can kind of demonstrate. I've been in a kip escape for like 5 seconds before. 5 seconds doesn't sound long, but when you're kipping, it is, right? I come up, and I'm just gonna kip, kip, kip. Notice how our hips ride up until I can pop my knee in. Once my knee's in, we're back in a guard, right? All a guard is my legs in between me and my partner. So, practice that kip, and practice it without a partner too. Just feet in synchronization, like a swim team. Cool? So, there's the kip escape. Now, we'll go over some of my favorite cheeky little escapes. This is really, really fun. Let's talk about your partner's feet. If your partner's feet are locked, just put your toes together. Almost like closed guard, we could consider mount, inverted closed guard, right? If we flip over, we're actually in guard. So this is just mount. Or I mean, this is just guard, but in space. If you were in space with 0 gravity, mount and guard are the same position. Anyways, so she locked her feet around me. She has a closed loop. It's going to be harder for me to get out. It's going to be harder for me to do this one. It's going to be hard for me to do this one. So if I can, I'm going to get in between. If I can get in between, one of my favorite things to do, especially is if I'm getting my arms isolated at the same time, right? I'm no better than you. I'm getting submitted from here all the time too. I'm going to try to swim my foot under her feet. Now notice if I can get a small hook, and it can be weird, and I'm just literally fighting for this small hook, and she might be fighting against it, right? But if she has to fight 2 battles, that's great. If I can make her distracted with her feet, I will. So I'm trying to find this little hook with the same side foot, or sometimes I can find it with the cross foot, right? If I can find it with the cross foot, that's great too. That didn't feel right. It didn't feel like your limbs are a different length, right? But if I can find this little hook, now it's really light. It's easy for me to get my arm in, or it's easy for me to step over and capture her ankle. If I've captured her ankle, now I have quarter guard, right? She won't score in competitions, and it's going to be easier for me to start getting my knees in. So one more time. Either turning over. Oh, yeah. First, get on the inside of the feet, right? Important. Try to find this little hook. If you can find that, that's great. Easy to start lifting, getting your elbows in, or straighten your leg, capture it with the other foot. Another really annoying thing people do, people will grapevine, right? So do you know the grapevine? It's where you literally straighten your ankles inside of my ankles. So, yep, and then straighten them. And then look, yeah, she can put torque on my knees. I've seen people's knees pop from here. But it's really annoying, especially if she has me completely splayed out. Kids do this all the time. They're like, what do I do? It's actually really simple. You're just going to out-straighten their legs. And look, once I out-straighten my leg, look, I can pummel this inside again, right? Out-straighten, boom. The last one, here's what it is. Your partner has incredible balance, trying to get their hands to the mat, boom, they won't go. Super easy, okay? I'm going to do a swim motion up to my elbow, just like a bump sweep, and I'm going to frame across the hip, and I'm just going to literally leave. I just leave. My partner's only option would be to try to pin me, in which if they do attempt to pin me, then I'm going to start coming with my elbows in. I guess it's not your partner's only option. Your partner's other option is, go ahead, sit up, is actually to try to get your back. So be aware of that. Be able to put your back on the mat, get your knees in. And then lastly, I guess this is more of a philosophy thing, but on defense, try to continuously off-balance your partner, you know what I mean? Try to keep them moving you know, whenever she would be digging an underhook, if you give a small little bump, you know, you can be kind of a rat and survive, right? So she starts digging again, bump, you know, find these small pockets to survive in. Yeah, and the other thing is, remember, if you block a post, you can really bridge harder, right? So if I bridge here and I try to take her that way, it's not very good. But if I block her post and I can take her center of gravity over that post, it's a lot easier to start moving her. Yeah, and I think that goes over all the key points for mount. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed. Comment any other breakdowns you want to see, whether it's a position or a move. Hope you guys enjoyed.